I'm good. How are you, Dan?
Yeah, not bad.
Good. Well.
Yeah. Just chilling here.
Yeah.
What did you think of the film?
Thought it was alright, yeah. It's good.
Just alright?
No, more than alright. I thought it was great.
And how did you come to be involved in it?
You showed me a bit of footage and I was like, I need to get immensely involved in this and help you bring it to life. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Dan.
It was a bit of a no-brainer, to be honest.
Yeah.
I showed him, I think, a rough cut, and I didn't, with no expectations of anything. I thought he was just a friend giving feedback, and then at the end of it, he's like, Dan, I need to fucking produce this for you.
Yeah.
And
that is sort of how it went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's great, and he's been locked in ever since.
Locked in, like everyone here.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah, feel good. I feel good.
Yeah. Was the sound all good in the corner over there?
Yeah, it was good out there. Yeah, it's great all round.
Awesome.
Oh no.
Oh, we got some water. Nice.
Oh, that's very good, right? Do you want some water, Dan?
I'd love some water.
All right. We do this, don't we?
Yeah, exactly.
This is how it goes. It's all a bit official. Here you go. Here's your water.
Thank you, dear.
It's all right. Did you all love it? Yeah. Well, that's the main thing.
Just waiting on Dave. Oh yeah.
You want to go back?
Did anyone find themselves in it?
Yeah. There were
That's
kind
good
of
to know.
at certain points that were like, this is like really good. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah, it's very good. Emotional.
Back then, the camera was a novelty, I suppose.
Yeah.
More of a novelty than now.
It was.
Yeah.
David's on the move, isn't he?
Yeah. Where's David?
He'll be here in a minute.
Is that him? He's here.
Can I chat with you guys?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Whew. Any apologies?
Would you like a mic?
You just realised you've probably been listening to me every week.
Oh yes.
It wasn't on the script.
No, we'll cut that bit out.
Oh god.
Oops.
Oh no.
Yeah. Great stuff.
What can you do?
1 2 1 2. Check check check.
It's working.
I won't sound like the football hooligan I used to. Well, there is only one question really to ask first, because I'm hoping that a lot of you here are pretty partisan as to which venue you preferred back in those wonderful days. And I'm intrigued to know why the Warehouse and not the Academy. My personal preference has always been that one. But they're two great venues. We were very lucky in Plymouth at that particular moment in time to have two world-class venues to put those kind of events on in. And both of them worked brilliantly. I love the Warehouse, as I'm sure a lot of people here did, for different reasons. But why did you choose it?
They're different. They were similar in that they played a similar kind of music and it was a similar kind of crowd, but they had different stories. I think if I was going to make a documentary about the Dance Academy, it would have been a different expose to this one. This one about the Warehouse is just its downfall was sort of sheer entropy as opposed to a alleged criminal accusation, which is what the Dance Academy owner was. So it would be a different kind of documentary if I were to make one like that. But they do share the similar music. But to be, the initial desire to make this documentary was just it wasn't meant to be just about the Warehouse specifically. It was meant to be about all the different abandoned clubs on Union Street as a whole. And I think there's one on Mayflower Street, the Ritzy. I think that's another one. It was meant to be just a general overview of that, in of itself. But I realised it was going to be way more than, let's say, a 20-minute short to do all of them all at once. So I chose one of them, and this one seemed to be. I mean, obviously there was Club Oz, there was the rave element to it, but there was also Blondes in the studio and Sgt. Pepper's, I think. There was like 4 or 5 different clubs in there, so it had something for everyone. I imagine Dance Academy was just one club. I don't know, but.
Well, it was, yeah. I mean, occasionally the upstairs room was let out separately, but nearly always, as a rave venue, it was always the entire place.
Yeah.
And the upstairs room was used as a chill out.
Yeah.
You couldn't really separate them like the studio. And I mean, Blondes obviously was completely different. But we all have to thank Peter Brown, who isn't here, who owned the Key Club, who was a DJ at the Key Club when my parents used to go to the Key Club. They went there because they used to smoke dope. It was one of the only places, apart from the Van Dyke, you could smoke dope in Plymouth was the Key Club. And Peter Brown was the DJ. Not many people know that. And when I decided to do Vibes, I went to the Key Club purely on that. My parents went and did drugs there. I'm going there. And I had to, pester and beg, and I did, and eventually they let me do it. But Peter Brown, he had Monroe's in East Lake Street, and Woods, or was it Woods or Speakeasy was part of that. It was above Burton's. And he sold that and bought the Warehouse with a plan. It didn't work for ages. It didn't work. As much as Andy Howard said it worked initially, it didn't for a while. I really struggled, but eventually it did.
Yeah, it had ups and downs. Yeah.
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
When I went there, it was totally in the red.
Yeah.
It was. It was properly struggling. But that was only because the raves had become violent and people weren't coming in on buses anymore. And it was difficult.
Yeah.
So next question. How did you find your interviewees? Who did you ask first to get you in touch with all? With Andy Howard, obviously, and people like that myself.
Yeah. I think about early 2024, I did a Facebook post asking people to come forward if they have, if they want to do any voiceover or give any archive contribution. It was just a Google form and just filled in. I think you filled in as well.
I did.
In there as well, and lots of people gave voiceover. Not all of them. Like some of them were, keen to give maybe archive, but not voiceover, or the reverse. So yeah, it came from just a few Facebook posts on some of the groups, like the Warehouse, the tribute to the Warehouse Facebook group, and I think another one. So
is Mark Williams one of the guys you've interviewed?
Yes.
Do we hear Mark on here today?
Yes, you do.
You did. Okay,
Yeah.
Cool. Is Mark here?
There he is.
Mark, there he is. I forgot. Oh my God, I just completely forgot it was you. I'm so used to. Yeah, well, you look a bit like Mark. No, I said that earlier.
I put on weight.
Wow.
I can't believe that.
Long blonde hair.
I know.
But you know what it was like. You know what it was like in those early days. Graham Dixon. In the days of Graham Dixon, it was, Union Street was a really crazy, lawless place in a sense, and these older promoters had lorded it over this, stretch of Plymouth and Clubland for quite some time, and they were totally out of touch with what we were doing. Graham, I called him Greedy Graham.
Yeah.
I took Vibes there, and I got £1 out of the 3 that we charged. And even then I had to pay for the DJs out of my £1. That's Greedy Graham. And he didn't do anything for that. And it took a while before I realised I was being, sort of shafted. And then I had to try and extricate my way out of that, which wasn't easy, because Graham was greedy. But, all of those, Roger Bennett, all of those people, they'd been there for 20 years. But the rave scene was nothing they could have foreseen. They didn't have a clue about it. And that's why, young fools like me who, had a dream could just walk in there and go, I can do this. And they just went, okay, well, try. Because they had no ideas anymore. You were pretty steady in the studio. You had a good steady crowd for ages.
6 years, every week.
Without fail?
Every week. I tried Mondays, Tuesdays, student nights. Thursdays was my main night. Because it was 50p a pint for lager, cider and bitter. So it wasn't an out special, it was all night long, 50p a pint. So it wasn't me, I wasn't a good DJ. It was.
No, you were, but you were the only people playing that, Mark. Nobody else was playing that music, with the exception of Andy to a certain point. But
talent was like, I couldn't mix properly.
No, but the kind of music you were playing didn't require that.
Because I played rockier music, indie.
You were playing Chameleons. You were playing good stuff.
Coming to you, I couldn't tell when some of the songs finished. He was so skilled.
No, well, I wasn't at first. That's Mr. Ribs here. If we could talk about him.
Oh.
So. And I'd like to bring Sean in, because until SAS, Simon and Sean, we didn't really have mixing DJs in Plymouth. We didn't. We didn't. Were there? They weren't, were they?
It had hip hop.
Yeah, but it wasn't really mixing.
Yeah.
It sort of was. Sorry, Paul. And Lee. I've really stepped on it now.
They ran in parallel for a period, and then eventually the rave thing kind of.
But you were that gateway.
Yeah,
you were.
Well, it was us. We were it wasn't just us. We did it because we had like-minded people and our peers. There were lots of peers our age who wanted something like this, and we were just fearless enough to say we're going to do house parties. We're going to do all the clubs. We did all the clubs on Union Street. We did all the back rooms.
Hey, you did the warehouse project.
Yeah, we did the warehouse project. We did. Yeah, we were quite. We were fearless as well.
No, you were, but at a time when it needed it. It was.
We said we wanted to do something, and we went and did it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And learnt how to do it, and had to fax agents to get DJs and all this kind of book flights to get them over and things like that. So we were but we had a good group of people around us who encouraged us and gave us the encouragement to keep going and do it. And so we even got banned from Union Street because of it, because we put on a house party and dragged all the youngsters to the house party, which meant they weren't down Union Street drinking. And so, yeah, we got banned from Union Street for about 6 months because of that.
Early days. Yeah. Look what became.
Yeah, but yeah, it was a good group of us, and we all had the same kind of. We just want to get together, play good music is what it boiled down to. As a matter of fact, if we wanted to play the tunes, and finding these venues enabled us to play that music. So that's what I could say.
Who was your conduit to get into the warehouse? Mine was Fleur. You know, Fleur Churchill she got me in.
Because we were in. I can't remember how that happened. To be honest with you, it might have been Simon de Bruyne. To be honest with you, because he was obviously Simon was local, so he knew just about everybody. And as word got about that we were doing stuff, he would get opportunities, and we would say, right, okay. And then we got offered the warehouse, and we tried a few things. Do you know what I mean? It worked for a period. We had a really good time doing it, and then it just kind of fizzled out because it was just we didn't have the budget to pull in the artists that we wanted.
No, and to compete with raves, then you had to do that.
Yeah, so we didn't have that budget, and even though we could get one or two people down here, we couldn't cover the costs. And eventually it just filled out, and then we just kind of went off and carried on doing our own thing. I think by that point you kind of stepped in and took over.
But I was lucky at that point because I didn't know that the music that I was into was going to explode like that. That whole progressive thing was, there weren't name DJs, there was DIY. They weren't big names.
I suppose that's the point, because we didn't go down that progressive house route. We were looking at more kind of hardcore,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Techno, early techno at that point. The UK hardcore kind of came in with all the breaks, and we had to go to London to find the tunes because they weren't getting out of London to get this far. Do you know what I mean? Because there weren't enough of them. Yeah,
it was a mad time. You know, I didn't know that music would end up becoming the next thing, and the club scene would explode then into a thing that none of us could have predicted, really. You know, it became enormous. But I always said the lucky thing was the minute that they made it illegal to dance outdoors, I managed to grab one of the biggest venues in the Southwest, you know, with only 180 or 200 people. And little Kev's at the back there, and Daniel, I presume, isn't here, but Daniel does deserve some credit. But Dan from Chaos and myself came up with the idea of putting a net in there. Without that net, we would never have survived. A bit like you, it was going into a massive place with hardly anyone. It didn't feel right, but the net did save our ass. It was a wonderful thing to do. Thank God, Kev. He put it up every week, and it wasn't easy. So, what's next?
What's next? What?
Is this going to do a tour?
Oh yes, this is it's going on to festivals. So we've been how many have been selected so far?
8 so far.
8 so far out of
75.
75. So
this is national festivals, so film festivals all over the country. So that's where the producer comes in. So I'm from London, just for context. Full of very fragmented music communities, and so to come across a sort of very concentrated community of club revelers, people in the warehouse was just like a treasure trove. And I think it was sort of handed down on a plate, which was just wonderful. And it's been a wonderful ride to kind of see the film come together. But yeah, big plans selling the film. We've got a couple of London screenings that are confirmed. So if anyone's got any London folks that want to see it out in Shoreditch, then we do have 2 screenings that are open to bookings. So do come along. It's filling up fast, just like this room. It's all very, very full. So yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be a good sort of tour, I think. And just to kind of get the word out about the Warehouse, about Plymouth, and it being an epicentre of clubbing in the southwest. I mean, I think it's incredible, really. I think it's amazing. Yeah.
Well, we owe a big thank you to, again, there's a young chap up the back there, little Kev.
Yeah.
Without that footage, Kev, you know, we were sort of graced a little bit with a bit of footage from some of these other great clubs back in that day. And your footage proves one thing, mate. They weren't really as good. Because your footage shows it, proper. You know, you can't deny it when you see the Warehouse in full flow, which you have. You've seen all the videos.
Yeah, without little Kev, we wouldn't be able to make the dog.
There's very little to touch that, but you did do all that, Kev, and you did it religiously for a while. You were wonderful, and you did it very politely, which was always good. Which is why you got the best footage, because you were little Kev. Yeah. Big round of applause for him. You guys, ask some questions.
Oh yeah, any audience questions?
Yeah, what do you want to know?
Got hand up over there.
Yeah.
Okay, so quite a controversial one. So drugs, DJs taking drugs and mixing at the same time. It's one of the only professions you can take drugs and work. So Dave, the question is, what was the most amount of drugs you did?
Well, at Culture Vibes.
That's a great question.
You need to look at the end of the 95 video and see me play Lost Boys. It's probably about as high as I ever got in there, probably. That's probably why I did it. I don't know, sometimes I was dreadful. But sometimes these days I can be incredible. It all depends on the day and also what drugs. But I think most of you realise that I've always led from the front.
It's kind of, you got into the same zone as the audience, right?
Yeah.
When you were on that level.
Yeah.
But you can push it too far, right?
I never stopped being a raver. So I'm not really a DJ. I'm a raver that plays. So there you go. That's probably the question you want to hear. Yeah, I'm not a DJ. That's why I've never followed it as a proper career. I'm way too involved in the other side of it to take it seriously. But I am a raver that plays records, and I always will be. So sometimes it might be terrible.
Sounds good to you, though.
Always.
Any other questions?
Any others?
Oh my gosh.
There's loads, yeah.
Joint three.
Yeah.
Oh, we got someone in the middle over there.
Got one over there on the side, and then one just down there. Yeah.
What I think really struck me was the fact that back then you had some 30 odd years ago, you had so many groups of people enjoying the music and the dance together. It didn't matter what group they belonged to, what sexuality, where they were from. Do you think the sense of community has survived all the closed down these clubs? Or is it different now?
Fragmented.
I don't really know. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't really go clubbing nowadays. Mainly because it's just boring. So I'm not really a good person to answer that. I mean, no, not really. I don't know. What do you think, Dave or Louis?
Yeah.
Well, what's incredible about then is it's really never stopped. All those same groups of people still are all interconnected. We all still go out.
Yeah.
And I've said to Daniel when I was describing, our generation, we're almost reinventing what aging is, because we're not stopping. We haven't stopped. I mean, if you looked at, I'm coming up for 60 years old. When I was a kid, a 60-year-old person did not do what we do. They didn't still go out. They didn't still surf. There's lots of things they didn't do, and we still do. And I don't see that stopping. So in a sense, our generation is redefining what aging is, because you don't have to get old. You can still go out and dance with your friends. It's actually quite good for your health. Yeah. It's and mental health as well as physical health. So I don't see, it was a halcyon time, but it hasn't changed for the people that were involved then. We still carry the same ideals. We're all still really ravers. And if you go to a Vibes event, you'll see that nobody really holds back still. So it's much the same. And I think it was clearly a very infectious time. But I made some of the best friends ever then, and I still have them, most of them. Very few have died, thank God. Live long, guys, prosper. But yeah, no, I don't think it's the same. It can't be. You know, we met at a time when things really did change. We all did, for the better.
Any other questions? We had one on the end just there. Yeah, he's just got his hand up just there. Oh yeah, the mic's coming around. Almost there. Yeah, great.
How would you describe, and it's really hard to do, I've come across a lot of young people over time, and this is basically a double question to two different generations there. Dave, how would you describe the days to younger people when you try and explain to them what it was like in the warehouse back in the day? And another one to the fantastic production team. How would you describe it, having seen so much footage, and have you talked to your friends about it and wished you were there?
You go first.
I mean, if the warehouse existed now, I would totally go. But and if I existed then, I would go. But there's not really an option for that in Plymouth. So, yeah, exactly. But it would, I think you said it would take more money than brains to renovate that building back to anything to its form, anything of an essence of its former self, you know.
Oh no, it'd be a stupendous amount of money.
Yeah.
But weirdly enough, it wasn't actually the tidiest, most cleanest, healthiest place back then. And it was most of it was actually just hardboard and carpet. You know, that's what changed it. You know, obviously there was a mirror ball egg, there was a stage. It was pretty grimy. But it was just the right shape. It was a temple. It was a temple at that time when everybody needed one. And it is hard to explain what it was like to anybody that didn't go, but just the walk, as you sort of saw in the documentary there, when you went through those front doors and you went up the first set of stairs and you walked past the cloakroom, you suddenly start to feel the beat. And then when you went up either side, you know, most people picked one or other. Some people always went to the right, I always went to the left. But the moment you hit the top of those stairs and you walked down there, you were on. And you knew what was coming. And that's a feeling you can't describe to anyone that wasn't there, because you know it was monumental when you walked in there, especially on a big night. And if you queue, I mean, I was lucky in the sense for a while I didn't have to queue, but if you had queued for ages and that's what you were blessed with, it's something else. And I have honestly I've been very lucky. I've travelled the world. I've played in all sorts of wonderful places. I've managed some great clubs in London, but I've never seen anything like that place. And not just when I did it, but you know, Wasp Factory was, you know, an Alpha. There was a few big raves there that took place, and Andy Howard's not here, but the first Kaleidoscope was off the charts. You know, anyone ever remember Homeboy Hippie and a Funky Dread? That was a killer night, Mr. C. It was. But you know, it's difficult to explain, but it was another world. It really was, and it felt like it, and that's what made it as popular as it was. There was nothing else like it.
Anything to add?
I think clubbing's moved underground. I think I see a lot of like friends of mine who my mum's friends who have like 18-year-old kids. They're not using their phones. Like it's kind of going back to the sort of 1990s, sort of like Gen Z and post Gen Z, and kind of going back to this idea of like unrecorded nights out, not being on social media. I think there's a bit of a new sort of wave of dejection of social media and everything, which is kind of exciting to see, because it is a bit reminiscent of that, which is great. But I think clubbing will be everywhere. I think it'll be just pushed further and further underground the more that these clubs are closing kind of throughout the country. And it'll always happen. There'll always be groups of people that will get together and create something, whether it's super underground in someone's flat, in like a abandoned warehouse to get like some ghetto blasters and put on some tunes or whatnot, and get some, portable pioneers, whatever. I think it will still be somewhere. I think that's the exciting part. It's very exciting, I think, it seems to be going underground a bit.
Smaller and gone to daytime parties now.
Yeah, daytime parties, daytime raves, yeah.
I mean, just to add to that a bit, when I did an interview with Andy Howard, and he spoke about, and you hear it in the end of the documentary because he still does DJ nights now in student events and people where there's, the new adults are coming in, and they seem a bit disenfranchised and detached from the current popular artists that are coming in now, like Stormzy, Ed Sheeran, and Adele, and all these people, and there's a suggestion that some kind of counterculture is coming.
I hope so.
some kind of thing is coming around the corner. We don't know what it is, but there is an initial sort of disenfranchising feeling between what is popular, and what they like.
What is pasteurised and what is raw.
Exactly.
That's the difference.
So,
we have a pasteurised music industry.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, where does it? I mean, I like rave and house like music and all that started in people's houses. It started in sort of DIY. So let's do it. Yeah. I think it's and it's suggested now. Like if you want to have a good night out, you go around someone's house and just do it yourself. And then the companies and the big corporates will take notice and start to change their clubs to be more like that or something, and then the cycle continues of counter versus popular, I guess. No,
They won't copy my house party.
yeah,
No, but you are right. I mean, cycles are cycles, but we haven't seen another one like that.
yeah.
I think, in a sense, Britain was very well. It has been famous for its youth culture. I looked at that as the last throw of the dice. It was pure punk. And the same thing happened, with punk. All of a sudden you had a myriad of tiny labels come from nowhere producing music that was specifically for that audience. That hasn't happened since. Maybe the grime and dubstep part of it, but that's not my thing. But that rave scene, when it happened, and I'm sure Sean will agree, it was the excitement of hearing a new sound every week. It was off the charts, it was just amazing. And that's difficult to replicate because nearly everything's been done and pasteurised to the point where it can't be done like that anymore. So we'll see. I live in hope. I always said it'll probably take a new drug. But there'll always be another one.
Yeah.
Nobody ever thought ecstasy would turn up, but it did, and it had a profound effect. Well, what's next? It certainly isn't K. But there might be something.
What's the drug?
Who knows?
Yeah.
I'll be having it in a minute. I'll have to test it, of course. But
Yeah.
I think you're all missing the point. It's about the music.
no, it is. But it can only usually be sold with like the '60s.
Then you're not going to attract people out, and that's what got us out. It was the tune. You know what I mean? It didn't matter who played it. You know what I mean? As long as they played something fresh and new, never heard it before. And if anything, the drugs helped you focus on the tune.
But they helped sell it. The same way acid sold its scene in the '60s. It was,
UK kind of led the way in making this scene what it is. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't happening like this anywhere else in the world. Do you know what I mean? It was over here that it happened, and we dragged those jocks and those artists over here, and they came over and were like, what on earth's going on? What is all this? Do you know what I mean? Granted, drugs kind of brought us all together. You know what I mean? At one point we thought we were like in the same religion. You know what I mean? It got to a point where you're all thinking that. If you look at the early magazines, some of the magazines back in the day, they all started having crosses and stuff, because everyone had the same idea, we're in a religion. Do you know what I mean? And that kind of helped you realise that. That's sorry.
Awesome.
drugs and music. It's a killer combination.
Yeah.
Yeah, the drugs. I mean, I personally didn't actually take drugs for a long time. I mean, I was playing at Zenas and that and wasn't doing any drugs whatsoever.
Through that whole period? I didn't know that, Sean.
Up off their head. I was just focused on the tunes. Do you know what I mean?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's just to show you it's about the tunes.
I was a terrible pillhead that got a chance to run a club. So that's my unfortunate cross to bear.
Awesome.
Any other questions? Any other final questions?
Oh.
Yes. Very patiently there in the middle.
A great question. Thanks for Dave. Dave, when's the next Vibes night?
Great question.
At the warehouse.
Let's go storm it.
I did say after that one I probably wouldn't do another one. It was a big thing to do anyway, and the whole deal with it, with Jeff dying, and the whole thing around it wasn't fun. Putting it on the night was great, but I'd lived with 28 years of wanting just one more chance, and I had it, and it worked. And if I did another one, everyone would expect it to be as good, if not better, and I don't know if it could be. So it might be a good way to leave it as it was. I know. And I'd dearly love to, but it was a difficult thing. It was psychologically for me, it was a huge thing. because it didn't finish well back in the 90s, so it was a big thing to do. But it really did make me feel good on that night. It was fabulous. And I thank you all for coming if you were there.
Well, thank you.
But I don't know if I'll do another. We'll have to wait and see.
Awesome, yeah. I mean, I think, did you do it in 2020? When was that? When was the rival?
They did 5 events. And I think it was 2023.
Yeah. Because I wasn't making the documentary then, but if I were, I probably would have filmed like the last scene with the New Year's Day rave. That probably would have been the ending. But
no, Vibes was good. It was really good fun, and but it was a real hard dealing with it. And obviously Jeff dying was really difficult because it was a difficult time. It really was, and I still don't look at any of that as fun. But the night itself was fabulous. It was wonderful, and everybody turned up, and the atmosphere was electric. Which was fab. And we got to play those records again, which was lovely. So yeah, no, I loved it. But don't hold your breath.
Awesome. Well, if you do, we'll all be there.
We'll see.
Yeah. Well, has anyone got any questions? Last questions? Awesome.
If the documentary makes it,
yeah,
you've got to throw a party there.
Yeah, probably.
Dave will help.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Probably. We'll go on tour.
We were like, imagine just one more night in and then 2 years later.
It happened, yeah. There you go. Yeah, it did. It was great.
Awesome.
Loved it.
Awesome, yeah. Thank you everyone for coming to this screening. I think some of you will have some programs. We've also got a little leaflet at the back of it with a QR code for the next film me and Louis are making. So feel free to donate to that if you want, or give it a share if you liked this. There's more where that came from. But
give this guy a huge round of applause, man. Yeah. He did it!
Thank you so much, David, as well.
He did it.
This doc wouldn't exist without David as well.
No, absolutely.
And so thank you very much as well. Thank you, David.
Having an an idea and seeing it through is a wonderful thing. I've had that joy. Enjoy it.
Thank you. We're going to go. Oh, it's mic's off now. We're going to go to the roundabout if you want any drinks afterwards and want to talk about stuff. Yeah.
10% off drinks.
Oh yeah, 10% off drinks.
Show your tickets. Come along.